It's mise on Seanchaidh, and this is Thistle Stone. The Bewley never forgets a traitor. It coils through the glens like a silver rope, and in the hiss of its rapids, the old ones still hear the same cry that has haunted Lovat for 600 years. Cashtal Dooney gu brach. There, where the mist clings to the pines and the foxglove grows tall as a man, the Frasers stood. Cunning as the river, proud as the stag, last true lords of Lovat's heart. This is their school. It's mise on Seanchaidh, and this is Thistle and Stone. Long ago, a fox came out of the mist at Dooney and spoke to the first Fraser with a woman's voice. You will hold this land by guile and by blood. You will wear the stag's head and the strawberry leaves, but you will never sit easy on any throne. When the fox is dragged in chains from Lovat to London, the last Fraser will fall with him. The Glen itself took the oath. Every Fraser born since has carried that cunning. Quick as the river, sharp as the thorn, lethal when cornered. Listen, the mist is still listening. Cuimhnich. From that fox-blessed vow came Clan Fraser, children of the northern Glen, sons and daughters of the cunning heart. Castle Dooney rose on its hill like a watching fox, not to keep enemies out, but to keep the old ways in. Every chief who took the name carried the fox's promise in his blood. No crown would ever own this glen while a Fraser heart still beat. The burn ran red when the heather bloomed, and the pipes answered every sunset from corries no redcoat ever found, and the stag banner flew above the mist. For centuries, they ruled by the old laws and new tricks. Gaelic judges sat beneath rowan trees in Strathfarer. Seanchaidh sang the night full of heroes until the foxes themselves fell silent to listen. Women stood taller than any man, their counsel colder than the Bewley in January, their vengeance sharper than any pike. They rode with the Chisholms, they fought the MacDonalds, they played every side when it suited them, and they answered only to the mist and the glen. Yet blood calls to blood, and pride answers pride. Frasers and MacDonalds tore each other across Loch Lochy. At Blarna Lane in 1544, Hugh of Lovat led them against Clanranald, shuts against shuts, and the loch ran red for 3 days. And while the pikes rang, the crown in Edinburgh smiled quietly and waited for the north to bleed itself weak. When the Jacobite star rose, Lovat answered. Old Simon the Fox, 11th Lord Lovat, sent his clan to fight under his son the Master. Charles Fraser of Inverness-shire led the Frasers at Culloden and fell in the charge. The Master held the rearguard as the Jacobite army broke. The Fox himself was dragged to London in chains, laughing all the way to the block. On the 9th of April 1747, Simon the Fox, 80 years old, gouty, half-blind, climbed the scaffold on Tower Hill. He joked with the headsman, tested the blade with his finger, and when the crowd jeered, he shouted, "Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori." The axe fell, the stand collapsed, and 50 spectators died in the crush. The old fox laughed, for even in death he struck one last blow for Scotland. The fox screamed that night across the Bewley. The moor drank deeper than it ever had before. The mist ran black with grief. Then came the sheep and the silence. The same government that cut off Simon's head now cut the heart out of Lovat. Glens that had roared with pipes and children fell quiet. The coffin ships left from Inverness, heavy with Frasers, bound for the frozen St. Lawrence and the stone farms of Quebec. They stood on the decks with the Bewley at their backs and the tears on their faces. And the fire did not sail with them. It stayed behind, watching over a glen growing emptier by the year. And the silence never truly lifted. Today, Castle Dooney is known only as Beaufort, hosting corporate away days and champagne receptions, while the last working croft in Strathfarrar is now a glamping pod, rented by the night to visitors who think Gaelic is a kind of whisky. The old glens themselves are being torn apart for foreign wind farms, whose shareholders will never walk the slopes where our ancestors lie. And the old Fraser burial ground at Kirkhill lies half forgotten now, slowly swallowed by new estates promising a slice of Highland heritage in English only. The Victory still tastes of ash, only quieter now and colder. Yet the fox still runs in the high corries. The Bewley still coils its ancient path. The Frasers are scattered from Lovat to Quebec, from Glasgow to Nova Scotia. But every one of them knows the road home ends where the fox first spoke. You will still hear their pipes on a winter's night above Struie. You will still meet a Fraser in Trois-Rivières who can recite 20 generations without a stumble. You will still find a child on the banks of the Farrar who dreams of the stag banner and wakes with the taste of guile on his tongue, though the last plot was hatched 300 years ago. Because the oath is not broken. Because the fox is still watching. Because the mist is still listening. Castle Dooney's stones remember the beheading. The Bewley keeps its secrets. The fox is still running somewhere above the snowline. The promise the fox made to the first Fraser is calling again. Not for thrones, not for pardons, but for the glen itself, for the language, for the children who should be born to the sound of mist on pine, speaking the old tongue. Frasers of Lovat, of Quebec, of Inverness, of Aberdeen, of the far corners of the earth, wherever the redcoats and the factors scattered you, the peat fire is down to embers. The mist is rising. Will you answer? Cashtal Dooney go bra. Cuimhnich an shani Seanchaidh a chur a ceann gay on Lunan. Remember the old fox who lost his head in London, and come home. It's Misha on Seanchaidh, and this is Thistle and Stone. Cuimhnich, Cuimhnich, Cuimhnich. Cuimhnich. Fáilte, Goo, Cuimhnich. The memory lives. Until next time. Cuimhnich!